75-hour pre-licensing class via Zoom online. And we're going to start with the essentials of New Jersey real estate. First, the history of real estate in New Jersey. So New Jersey, of course, was occupied by the indigenous Native American people. But as far as Europeans were concerned, and we're not counting the people from Scandinavia, but the first European contact was in May of 1626. The Dutch West Indies Company comes to the U.S. Native Americans to purchase the rights to the island of Manhattan for 60 guilders. And that's the historical story that may or may not be true. That included purchase of parts of New Jersey also. So the Dutch were the original ones to colonize New Jersey. Around 1524, Verrazano became the first European to explore New Jersey. That's where we get the name of the Verrazano Bridge. He sailed along the coast and anchored off Sandy Hook. The colonial history of New Jersey started after Henry Hudson sailed through the North Bay in 1609. And although Hudson was British, he worked for the Dutch. He worked for Netherlands, so he claimed the land for the Dutch, and it was called New Netherlands. In 1664, the Dutch lost New Netherlands when the British took control of the land through an arrangement as the British lost a war. They divided the land in half and gave control to two proprietors, Sir George Carteret, that's who Carteret is named after. He was in charge of the east side, and Lord John Berkeley, who was in charge of the west side. The land was officially named New Jersey after the Isle of Jersey in the English Channel, and Carteret had been the governor of the Isle of Jersey in England. And again, that's where we get the name of the town of Carteret. Now, I like to talk about some of my favorite real estate agents. And I'm going to say George Washington was one of my favorites, or my favorite. Everybody knows that George Washington was the president of the United States, the first president. But in 1752, Washington made his first land purchase. He bought 1,459 acres in Virginia. And also, George Washington had been a colonel in the British Army in the French and Indian Wars. And as a part of his pay for participating for Britain in the French and Indian Wars, he was given a large land grant. And, as you read through the slide here, he participated in many land purchases and numerous properties. His will, when he died in 1800, lists 52,194 acres to be sold. And he had properties in Virginia, Pennsylvania, Maryland, New York, Kentucky, and the Ohio Valley. He also held title to lots in the Virginia cities of Winchester, Alexandria, and the new formed city of Washington, D.C. So again, why do I say he's a real estate agent? Well, because when he was given these land deeds, and this is a copy of a historical deed for George Washington, when he was given these land deeds as payment for his service in the British Army, his training was as a surveyor. And as a surveyor, the land grants that he was given, he subdivided into lots of, these are very large lots, by the way, and sold them off. And then he did the same thing for other officers that were serving in the French and Indian Wars, and subdivided their lots into very large plots and sold them off. And that's how George Washington really, in adjusted wealth, was our richest president to date, even richer than the current president in adjusted values. New Jersey works on the Allodial System. And the Allodial System is a very important concept of land ownership. For purposes of the test, the most important thing is that the Allodial System means we transfer real property by deeds. So the Allodial System means we transfer real property by deeds. We also transfer personal property by bill of sale. So real property by deeds, personal property by bill of sale. And so New Jersey is an allodial state, and we transfer real property by deeds. If you look in our textbook, there are really no key words for the chapter on historical perspective of real estate in New Jersey. are no real keywords. The main keyword that you need to remember is it's an allodial system. And that means we transfer real property by deeds. The next thing is, along with the ownership of your real property, and as Thomas Jefferson spoke and wrote, real property is the land that God gave us to the heavens above and all things attached by man or nature, including our bundle of rights. And our bundle of rights are the rights that go along with the ownership of real property. So when we own real property, we have the right to occupy and use, we have the right to build on it, we have the right to grant easements, we have the right to mortgage our property, the right to mine, drill, and farm, the right to restrict the use, the right to have covenants governing the use of our property, the right to exclude others, the right to sell or refuse to sell, the right to give away or abandon, the right to rent or lease, the right to license, and the right to pass our properties along by devise, which means to pass our property by will. And so again, that allodial system of ownership, it's the ownership of rights to land, and it's the largest bundle available for private ownership. And that largest bundle that's available for private ownership is called fee simple or fee simple absolute. And we'll get more into the definition of fee simple and fee simple absolute in chapter 4. New Jersey is also a caveat emptor state. Caveat emptor is a phrase that means let the buyer beware. So it's important and incumbent upon the purchaser of real property to do all the investigations for that purchaser to find everything out about the property that they need to know. So the purchaser does the home inspection. The purchaser checks for radon. The purchaser also hires a title insurance company to do a title search and gets title insurance because it's incumbent upon the purchaser to be able to be well assured that the person selling them the property is actually possessed of the property, is the owner of the property, and has the rights to sell the property. So what does all that mean? It means that we are a caveat emptor state. We are a buyer beware state. And that means it's up to the buyer to find out everything that he needs to find out when he's going to purchase a property. The next thing is we're a lien theory state. And that means when you purchase a property in New Jersey, you do get the deed. And on the deed is stamped liens. And of course, first lien is the first one recorded. And that first lien, the first one recorded, is typically your mortgage lien. And it's the lien that's created by giving the bank a mortgage when you purchase a house. Giving a bank a mortgage hypothecates or pledges your house as a security for a debt. And if you look at the map, all the blue states are lien theory states, and New Jersey is a lien theory state. The other states that are in red are a deed of trust state, and we are not a deed of trust state. We are a lien theory state. When you transfer the property, you will get a mortgage, but it will have a lien on it. And that lien is created by giving the bank a mortgage. That document, that mortgage that you, the purchaser, give the bank is then taken to the county clerk's office and is recorded, is stamped with a time and date, and that time and date stamp establishes priority for that specific lien. We are also a judicial foreclosure state. And in New Jersey, it is very difficult for lenders to foreclose. Quite often, we see lenders taking 3, 4, even 5 years to foreclose. We are a judicial foreclosure state, and that means we have to get in front of a judge to foreclose. So part of the foreclosure process in New Jersey is to file a lis pendens, L-I-S-P-E-N-D-E-N-S, lis pendens. A lis pendens is a notice of suit pending, and that enables the foreclosing entity to get in front of a judge, because we are a judicial foreclosure, and to proceed with the foreclosure. Of all the states in the United States, there are only 1 or possibly 2 states where it takes longer to foreclose than it takes in New Jersey. Very long process. So again, we are a judicial foreclosure state in New Jersey. And we are also what is known as a strict foreclosure state. We foreclose under a law called the New Jersey Fair Letters Foreclosure Act, and it is very, very strict and complicated in order to foreclose. The process itself is strict and complicated. All right, so really that's all there is in chapter 1. And so now we're going to go to chapter 2 in the book. And chapter 2 is about the National Association of Realtors. And we have a National Association of Realtors. We have a New Jersey Association of Realtors. And in Middlesex County, we have the Metro Center Association of Realtors. Now, the Realtors is not a governmental entity or authority. The Realtors is a trade association or a trade group. It's one of the largest trade groups in the country. It has over 1 million members. And again, quite often you'll see the logo for the National Association of Realtors. When you get your real estate license, you can become a realtor by paying your realtor dues and promising to obey their code of ethics and promising to be bound by their rules on things such as mediation and arbitration. The National Association of Realtors is what we call a closed shop. And that means if you are a broker and your office is a realtor office, everyone in your office has to join the Realtors. On the other hand, if you are in an office and your broker does not belong to the Realtors, then no one in your office can be a realtor, because National Association of Realtors Trade Association is a closed shop. Now, what does the National Association of Realtors and the Realtors do? Well, they have a lot of functions. One of the things is they establish a code of conduct between agents. And again, the original National Association of Realtors was founded in 1917. And the National Association of Realtors also in Chicago in 1908, with 120 founding members and 19 boards and 1 state association. Now, this National Association of Realtors is over 100 years old, and it predates our licensing law in New Jersey. So the National Association of Realtors has actually been around longer than our licensing law in New Jersey. One of the benefits of the National Association of Realtors is the NAR-RPR. This is a database that is striving to collect the information on all properties sold throughout the United States and make it available to realtors, and also under circumstances to be able to generate prospective or proposed values on properties or estimated values on properties. It's a very useful tool, has a lot of information in it. And again, when you join the Realtors, you are eligible to go ahead and sign up for this and then use all of its resources that are available. The Realtors also, when you sign up, have a code of ethics. And that code of ethics was adopted in 1913. Now, we do not have any questions about ethics on the real estate exam. No questions about ethics specifically on the real estate exam, because other than the fact we have to obey the law of agency and we have to obey any ethical considerations that are written into the law, we don't have a code of ethics that applies specifically to real estate agents in the law. By the way, the law is called Title 45, Chapter 15. That's the name of the law in New Jersey, created by the New Jersey legislature. So the National Association of Realtors does have a code of ethics. The code of ethics deals with issues on how we treat each other, how we treat other agents, how we treat the public. And again, the National Association of Realtors, then the New Jersey Association of Realtors, then the Metro Center Association of Realtors in Middlesex County, all of those have the ability to look at your behavior specifically. So that's the quickie class for this morning. And again, we're the best school of real estate. Right now, under COVID, we are allowed to give the class live via Zoom. Our classes, as you know, are Tuesday and Wednesday evenings, starting at 6:30. Typically, I try to give you a reading to do starting at 6 p.m. And then after the lecture is over, we do have a question and answer session, and we try to run a quiz after most classes on just a couple of questions. If you have any questions, please call that number below, 732-266-3366. And again, we hope to see you in our night classes. That was our little quickie version this morning. We'll schedule another one and I will send out the invitations. But for everyone who stopped in this morning, thank you very much. And we'll see you at class. Bye-bye.